The Apostle Paul taught that becoming a greater man meant growing in character attributes like love, patience, self-control, and more. Where should a man begin? Today, Rob Stout is talking to Nirup Alphonse about a man's daily disciplines. Nirup is the lead pastor at LifeGate Church in Denver, Colorado, and teaches men to catch a vision for their lives by practicing a few key daily disciplines for optimal mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. For more information about Pastor Alphonse, LifeGate Church of Denver, and the books and resources mentioned in today's episodes, check out the show notes. For more information about Sherpa Unlimited, the Next Stage podcast for men, or Rob Stout, visit SherpaUnlimited.com or email thenextstage@SherpaUnlimited.com. Whether you're at the gym, on a flight, driving to an appointment, or just chilling out, this podcast is a resource to help men get to the next level. Welcome to the Next Stage.
Does your sermon only get one squeeze? There's probably more juice in that sermon. ReSermon repurposes sermon content for optimal ministry impact. Learn more at resermon.com or email hello@resermon.com.
So welcome to the Next Stage podcast, man. I'm really excited to have my pastor, Nirup Alphonse, on the Next Stage. I've been tracking him down for months. He's been writing, he's been speaking, just a busy pastor and father and husband. Nirup, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped for this conversation. Glad we finally got to get the schedules and the stars all aligned together to make it happen.
I appreciate it. My wife and I, for those of you who don't know, attend LifeGate. We're members there. We have been for a couple years, and it's because my daughter and son-in-law were like, "You have to come and join us in what we're doing." And it was Christmas Eve, probably 4 years ago. I think it was the first time we jumped into things at LifeGate, and just incredible. Men, for those of you who aren't familiar, and I'm sure most of you are not, because you're literally all over the world, LifeGate is an intercultural, interethnic, intergenerational church, and it is literally a taste of heaven that's, I'm sure, is not easy to lead from Nirup's standpoint. But here's the question I want to frame around, and the reason we have this kind of framing question is this. I think it's part of Nirup's DNA, definitely a part of the DNA of LifeGate. And here's what I want to center on is how can a man who is growing in his life, he's busy in his career, he's busy in his personal life, home, all of that, how can he develop his inner world so that the entirety of the purpose of his life, everything he does, is shaped?
Yeah, it's really good. I love that question. To me, I think, men are in many ways just large boys. I have 4 sons, and man, the amount of energy, the amount of food consumption, the amount of emotions that are all over the place. And what I see with my boys, and I tell whenever I meet a new dad who is, has his infant boy in his arms, I think many people automatically think like, you just got to get him into sports and karate and let him hit stuff. And what's interesting about men is that we actually need outlets for our tenderness as much as we do for our aggression. We need both. And so often culturally, we're only given outlets for aggression. We're not given opportunities for tenderness. And so as a dad, I'm trying to do both with my wife and I, with our 4 kids. But I would say what a man needs more than anything is 2 things. One feeds the other. What a man needs more than anything first is a vision. What is his vision for his life? What is God's vision for what God desires for him to do? And how does that vision play out into walking with God, walking with others, vocation, relationships, singleness, marriage, dating, obviously, dating before marriage, children, grandchildren, investments with their money, with their time. So I think we need a vision. That's the first thing. I have found that men do not do well if not given a vision. Where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And then the second thing I think men need is discipline. I have never found a undisciplined man who is thriving in any category, whether it's physical, spiritual, sexual, relational, financial, emotional. I have never met in my life, of any age, any ethnicity, any generation, a man who is not thriving when he's disciplined. When he's disciplined and has a vision, then I think God blesses that. I think God breathes life into it. And I think what keeps men energized to have grit and tenacity to go after in the long haul. So yeah, I mean, men need a lot of stuff. We need relationships, we need outlets, we need hobbies, we need work. But I think all of that fits inside of vision and discipline.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, focusing more on the inner renewal of a man. So that's not something that gets a lot of attention. Our careers get a lot of attention. Sports get way too much attention. But what's the starting point as you meet men who are coming in the doors of LifeGate, probably who are not believers, followers of Christ yet? What's the starting point for renewing that inner
Great question.
part of his life?
Great question. So I'll answer that two ways, or one answer, two parts. First, again, we need a vision for where God is leading us. Who are we becoming as men? Because so often our metric for success is how big our house is, how many years we've been married, how many kids we have, how much money we make. And those are not bad things. Those are great things. But part of our vision that God has given us is who are we becoming in the middle of it? Are we becoming men of love, kindness, tenderness, patience, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control? Are we becoming men that are responsive to the needs of people around us? Are we becoming men who identify attachments in our life that are leading us down unhealthy paths? And so that stems from our inner world, the health of our inner world. So first, we need a vision for who is God calling me to become. But secondly, in order to really reach our inner world, we have to be able to silence the noise of everything around us. We have to be able to get alone with God. And we are terrified of being alone with God. We are terrified of what we might discover about ourselves, what God might discover about ourselves. What is our motivation? What is our ambition? What is our desire? What are our temptations? What are our proclivities? What are our patterns? And we can't really do that until we are willing to get alone and quiet, literally quiet with God. Turn off the music, turn off the noise, put away the computer, put away the Excel spreadsheet, and put away all the goals and the ambitions, put all that away and be alone in solitude with God. And solitude with God, I think, does two things. It not only, in prayer, it not only reveals our inner world, it actually is the process by which we're healed in our inner world. And I think this is why Jesus modeled this. Jesus went away with the Father. And even though Jesus had nothing in his life to be healed, he never sinned, he never had a broken interior world, but he knew what it was to be alone with the Father, to be constantly renewed in his relationship with the Father and the Spirit. And I think we as men need to see that as the work of faith, that I need to be alone with God. I need him to reveal some things about my soul, remind me that he loves me anyways, no matter what we discover, he loves me. And also to then heal the things that we discover. And so I think that's what we really need. If we really want a healed interior, it's no different than, Rob, if you said, man, like my chest hurts. Like I feel like my heart is beating fast and, my chest really hurts. And if I said to you like, oh man, Rob, what you need is like, you need to eat healthier. It's probably true. You need to hit the gym. That's probably true. But a doctor might say like, hey, Rob, I think we need a CT. We need to look into your interior world. We need to have an MRI. And when you're in those medical positions, like, I wonder if you ever recognize this, like you can't do anything else. When you're getting a CT exam on your heart, it's not like, hey, can I also check up my fantasy football score? Can I like check a couple emails? Can I call my kids? Like you can't. You just have to lay there still as they put the contrast in you and they're examining your heart. Well, in a spiritual sense, it's the same thing. God needs to examine our hearts. We need to be still and alone and quiet for God to do that. So I would say if any man is asking, how do I strengthen my interior world? You have to be alone with God. You have to get alone with God. There's no other way.
I mean, there's a loneliness and isolation epidemic going on in our world today. 50% of men report frequent feelings of loneliness. Another 50% report not having any close friends. And 70% of men report not having a significant relationship or a conversation that goes beyond the surface level in the last week. Life doesn't have to be that way. In fact, Sherpa Unlimited has come along and said, we want to help solve that problem. And I want you to picture your world like this. Picture your world where you have other strong men around you who are heading the same direction you are. Not just yes men in your life or drinking buddies or poker playing buddies or something like that, but men where you had the opportunity to grow, to really foster the kind of life that you want, to grow that internal world that allows you to be the man you need to be at work, at home, in your community. Men who were there to challenge you, but also lift you up when you fall. And we all do. I want you to check out Sherpa Unlimited's opportunity that we have coming up. They're called Ascent Men's Communities. These are bi-weekly groups that meet literally anywhere in the world. You have to invest in these. They're not just free, but it's very affordable. You'll see. Less than the cost of a couple pizzas and certainly less than the cost of your gym membership. Go to sherpaunlimited.com/ascent. We'll see you in one of our Ascent Men's communities very soon.
One of the very first conversations we have is in a coffee shop down in Denver. And this phrase, the daily rhythm of your life, came up. I don't know if we both said it simultaneously or whatever, but take me inside of your world. So you're obviously, you have a profession, you have a vocation.
Yep.
You have an incredible wife who's amazing. You have 4 boys. What does that rhythm look like in your life? Like, what's the schedule of your day for a guy who's like, that sounds great, but what does it look like?
That's great. Great question. So one thing I do is I wake up early in the morning before my kids are awake, because I don't know if there's a better parent than me out there. There probably is, but I have found once my kids are awake, it is full focus on them, and they don't care about my time with the Lord, and they don't care what's going on. They need to get dressed. They got to get to school. And we have 4 kids who go to 3 different schools. And so my wife is taking either 1 or 3 of them. I'm either taking 1 or 3 of them. And so it's just mass chaos. Remember that scene from Home Alone where they're panicking and going to,
it's every morning.
They're trying to leave. That's every morning. I'm like, that's nothing. That's every morning.
Home, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, waking up early in the morning, my alarm is set for 3:55, waking up. So from 4 to 7 a.m. is my time with the Lord. And now that's filled with prayer, reading God's word, meditating on God's word. And also if I'm reading a book, which I'm always reading a book, then I also fill that time in there. So 4 to 7 is time with my family or myself. And then once 7 o'clock hits, kids are awake, I'm making breakfast for my kids. My wife is amazing in every category across any metric, except she cannot cook to save our lives. So if we are going to survive, I have to make the food.
Okay.
So I like make the food, she can do everything else. And she's a billion times better at it than I am. But I also enjoy cooking. It's like therapeutic. So we make breakfast, and then between 7:20 and 8, we're off to school. And then from 8 to 9, I know by 9 a.m. I'm in work mode.
Right.
And so between 8 to 9, I try to just take the first hour of the day to prep mentally for what the day is coming. So I don't open my laptop and check my computer. I'm still pretty old school. I still use paper and pencil to track every single thing I'm doing. And so I look through my day. I look through and I prepare. Okay, I have a meeting at 9 o'clock. I have another meeting at 11:30. I have a staff meeting at 1. I have a Zoom call at 3:30. I have another Zoom call at 4:30. And I want to, in that hour, make sure I am fully prepped for those things. So instead of at 3:27, logging into my email, like, oh my gosh, where's that Zoom link again? Where I need to find it. I get all of that ready in that first hour. So then I can tackle my day and knock out everything. And it gives me margin. So I do that. And then pretty much, 9 to 5, for the most part, it's work, whether it's writing, preparing for sermons, meeting with staff, meeting with people, whatever it is. So it's 9 to 5. Once 5 o'clock hits, I do not take stuff home with me. I leave my laptop at work. I leave my iPad at work. I leave, many times I'll leave my phone. I will not take it. I'll look at the next day, like, well, I don't need it until 10. I don't need to take my phone.
Right.
And I'll leave it. Because when I leave, I want to be fully present at home, whether it's my kids' practice, whether it's dinner time, whether it's with my wife, with games. I rarely take my laptop home, like to get work done. Rarely do that. I might do some reading and stuff. And then we do family dinner, usually around 6:30. And it's not romantic. We pray together. We talk about our days, highs and lows, and we, share gratitude. And it's not romantic, man. I got a 15-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
You got a big spread there.
Yeah,
sure.
it's mass chaos, and we try to do that. And then depending on the evening and the season, we're in a season right now where every other night one of our sons has basketball, and every other night the other son has basketball. Right. And so our family prayer time looks a little interesting. So we try to do that around 7:30, and then it's kind of quiet time. Everyone is reading a book or something. Again, none of this is romantic. So don't see the family prayer time as anyone listening. Like, this is not the Von Trapps. They are not lined up.
You got 4 boys, so people are farting and there's all kinds of stuff going on.
They are not in a perfectly straight line singing to the Nazis. Okay, like this is. They are. One kid's upside down. One kid's crying. One person doesn't want to be there. It's too hot, it's too cold. It's it's just nonstop.
Right.
But it's trying to instill the rhythm of this is what we do.
Right.
And then 8:00 is our 3 out of 4 kids are in bed by 8, and then our 15-year-old, he's up till a little bit later doing stuff, working, talking to friends. But I am usually in my bed, unless I'm at an event, at church, speaking somewhere. At dinner with friends or visiting people, I am usually in my bed by 8:30.
Yeah,
I'm in bed by 8:30 to 9, and I'm reading a book. So I'm reading a book. I always fall asleep reading a book and then praying before I go to bed. So a lot of people ask, how do I have so much time to read? And like, because I'm usually not, watching Netflix every night and it probably takes me 3 years to get through a season of anything.
Yeah.
And it's usually because I just don't want that to fill my time.
Right.
I want other things to fill my time. So at nighttime, I might in my bed journal about ideas I have, projects I'm working on, poems I might be writing, things like that. So I want to be able to maximize my time. So that's kind of a daily rhythm. Yeah. And then of course there's seasons where it just has to be tweaked a little bit. Kids have sports and games and graduations and parties, and you work at a church. December is a blur. Right. You get around to Easter is a blur. Right. So there's certain seasons I think this is our rhythm, but you have to break down. I think one of the things I loved, and hopefully this resonates with you, just being a leader and a coach, and the guys listening right now, is Kobe Bryant would say the trick that Phil Jackson taught him and the Lakers when they went on that 3-year run of winning back-to-back-to-back is Phil Jackson helped them break down an 82-game season, plus then the playoffs and the championship, into what Kobe called, or what Phil Jackson called, micro seasons. So how do you take an 82-game season, which is a long season, and say, we're going to break this into a 12-game season, then another 10-game season, another 5-game season. And they all look a little bit different, because you might have a series of 12 games that are predominantly home games, or a season of 12 that are predominantly away games all over the country. And Phil helped them break down and create the same rhythm, but how did it look a little bit different, tweaking a little bit different for the season that we're in? And so I think as leaders, as coaches, as men, we're asking, well, I'm in a season called life, but what does this season look like of my life? The next 6 months, the next 3 months, the next 2 months, and have a rhythm that says, I need to do these in this time. So I think that's one of the things that I've just learned, and I'm learning, I think, is how to tweak your rhythm based on the season that you're in.
Right. I love that. So you hit 2 different things. One is the micro of every day. And I agree with you. If I am not up, and this isn't just over spiritualizing life, but if I'm not up in my chair with a cup of coffee saying, okay, God, meet me in this place.
Yeah.
Like, usually it starts with the Lord's Prayer, Psalm 27, Psalm 23, Psalm 139, one of the Psalms, or the Lord's Prayer. Like, if that rhythm isn't in my life, and then I get my pre-workout, I go to the gym, and I start my day at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. like that rhythm is so important. And I talk to guys all the time who are like, oh, if I'm not, doing my CrossFit workout, by the way, when somebody is a CrossFit guy, right?
They tell you.
They will tell you. Absolutely.
Just like vegans. Vegans will tell you.
That's right.
Nobody's asking, but thanks for telling me.
They'll just tell you. But it's, that rhythm is so important. And then the other thing is the macro rhythm of life. I talk to men all the time, and you do too. Oh my gosh, we just had a baby. I'm like, okay, just hang on for at least 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all going to be messed up.
It's all changing because your baby doesn't care about what time you wake up.
That baby doesn't care, or you just got married, you start a new job. Like, okay, there are things that are going to upset that rhythm of life, but get back to it. It's like missing a workout. You just get back in it. Right.
Yeah. And there might be times where God is saying, I'm in a season right now where I feel like the Lord is saying, hey, the most worshipful thing you could do right now for me and your own interior world is to sleep. So I've been like the last several weeks, like I mean, listen, I am a 3:55 on the dot wake up person. Okay. In the last several weeks, I feel like the Lord is saying, hey, you're running hard. You're exhausted. The most worshipful, prayerful thing you can do is sleep until 6:45. Sleep and enjoy sleep. Enjoy it and like rest your body, rest your mind, rest your heart. And so that's what I've been doing. I know it won't be forever.
No,
and I'll get right back. I'll get right back into it.
To the year. The year's winding down, and of course, in your vocation, December and Easter, man, it's the Super Bowl right there. But
so learning those things about yourself. And then I think there's a lot of things about our interior world that we want God to heal without really taking an awareness of our exterior world. Like,
what do you mean,
man? Like, am I in a spiritual battle? Why am I feeling so frustrated? It must be because there's something hidden in my heart. Like maybe you just need to work out, and maybe you need to drink water, and maybe you need to eat healthy, and maybe you need to not be on a computer screen for hours on end. People will tell me all the time, like, man, I can't sleep and I'm struggling. Is it spiritual battles? Like maybe, or maybe the fact that you're watching, another episode all night long, the blue light is affecting you. Like literally your physiology, no matter how much you pray, is not going to overcome the physiology, the laws that God has designed in the universe. Like eat healthy, drink healthy, things like alcohol. I think it's very easy to abuse things like alcohol, where a lot of men I know wouldn't call themselves alcoholics, but they need a drink, they need a glass of whiskey to fall asleep at night. Right. And I'm like, man, that's not good. Like you want to ask God, what is going on there? Because that's affecting you physically. And so all the prayer all day long won't heal that as much as it can reveal some things in your exterior world that are really not good for you. Like, I need to slow this down, So I think it's looking at our vocation as disciples in an integrated way. How do we love God, heart, mind, body, and soul? And we often forget about that body piece. How do I, like you mentioned, I need to work out. I need to be healthy. Especially, I feel like you're such a great person to talk about it because you've lived a little bit and now you're a grandfather and you're like, listen, I don't want to be like old granddaddy who can't even like get up and help out because I'm old and beat up and life's taking it out of me.
Right.
Like, no, I want to be present for my children and my grandchildren and be active, like spiritually, physically, emotionally. So I think that we need to look at all those pieces as we navigate what it means to be a man today.
I hear you. In the integrated life, that's kind of, the quadrants I talk about all the time. Your heart, soul, mind, and strength, your passion, purpose, power, perspective. And it is really easy to go, oh, that's a spiritual problem. Like it's connected, but bro, you've got to, what is your blood pressure? Like, what is your cholesterol level? What is are you emotionally connected? Like that backache is telling you something about your life.
Yeah.
Like what's happening? Are you driving too hard? I love that. I love that.
Yeah, love. I'm reading his book.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just saying, I'm reading this book right now by Justin Earley called How the Body Teaches the Soul. And I think there's a lot of good stuff in there where, man, your body is speaking. It's saying something. So I'm, I'm in a current situation where I'm feeling some symptoms physically. And so I want to be wise about it. And so I've gone to my doctor and we're taking all these tests, and so far everything's showing up negative. Like, well, I'm definitely feeling something. So maybe it's some spiritual stuff going on. Maybe it's just I need to get back in general health and eat healthier and work out and things. So I want to be wise. We certainly want to be wise and explore, like, what could it be? But we also want to look at this in an integrated, holistic way and say, okay, God, like, what's happening? And not be afraid of it, not be timid about it, but say, what's happening and how do we attack this? With a lot of humility and vulnerability. So I think you're right. I think that integrated, I love what you described as the 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
And it has to be all 4. You need all 4 pillars to hold the structure together. You can't just function on 1 or 3. You need all 4 working together.
Yeah, the With Everything Men's Retreat, which we did at LifeGate in the fall, in September, we talked about it like 4 wheels on a car. I mean, you've got a heart, you've got a soul, you've got a mind, you've got physical strength. But chances are you're running out of one of those or 2 of those. Yeah. So it may just be like, oh, one guy came to this retreat and he's like, I found out this weekend that I have emotions. And I'm like, good for you. Like, huge win,
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about it? He goes, I'm like, no, dude, how are you?
Yeah.
It's great.
No, I love that. I love the idea of like you got to be a 4-wheel drive. You can't be a 2-wheel drive or a 3-wheel drive.
Can't be a unicycle,
Yeah. Because I guess it'll work for a while. It doesn't work in snow. It doesn't work when it's raining. It doesn't work when you're going uphill,
Absolutely.
I love that illustration.
Yeah, that's not original either. I have to attribute that to probably, I think Chris Mosier was the person who taught me that. So,
well, we all make up. We all have said something someone else said, right?
And he got it from the former Dread Pirate Roberts. I know he did.
Yeah, exactly. We've all said something that someone else said before,
That's right. So let's ask. We're developing the inner world. A man is like, okay, I need to get serious about this, or I need to start to connect my life. How does that play out in the closest relationships in his life, in his marriage, his family, his girlfriend, friendships? How does that develop in the inner world? Again, how does it connect to everything, but specifically the area of relationships? How do you think it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So, Jesus has this statement, the explicit meaning, of course, where he says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Mm-hmm. So whenever someone's like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. Well, it was in your heart. Right. Like, it was there. It came out. So on an explicit level, Jesus is talking about what you speak, but on an implicit level, it's whatever is in your heart is going to come out in some way, shape, or form. It's going to come out to the poor barista who's taking your coffee order. Yeah. It's going to come out to the person who cut you off in traffic, or it's going to come out to the closest people to you. And I remember I had this moment with my wife. I came home one time, and she allows me to share the story. It's really her story to tell, but she allows me. I came home once, and I don't know what was going on in the house, but I mean, she was losing her mind on these kids. I mean, it was like an out-of-body experience. And my kids are like staring at her, and they are little punks, I'll tell you that. They like know how to instigate.
Right.
And so she just storms out of the house. She like takes the keys and is gone. Didn't even acknowledge me. And I looked at my kids and I'm like, what did you guys do? Like, I think she's gone. Congratulations.
Right. She's never coming back, guys.
She's never coming back. And got the kids to bed. I just let her, I was like, I'm going to let her, whatever she's going through, let her go through it. She'll tell me when she's ready.
Yeah.
And she came back hours later. And she came in, and then the first things out of her mouth was, I hate that you all have to see me at my worst. And I said, Hannah, we don't see each other at our worst. We see each other in our deepest wounding. Like you think about an animal that's wounded. When you're trying to help an animal that's wounded, the first thing you have to do is muzzle it because it's going to attack you.
Right.
And that's how we are in our soul level. When our soul is wounded and someone is trying to help us, or they just say the wrong thing, like, man, it comes out, it explodes, it's there. And often that can be so damaging, not just to yourself, but to other people. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to realize whatever is in you, it's like a volcano. Whatever is in you is one day going to erupt. Yeah. It's going to come out. And many times, I do a lot of work with guys who are incarcerated. A lot of these guys, they're no different than you and I.
Oh, 100%.
They just exploded at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
It was all this pain. It was all this betrayal, all this abandonment, all this stuff that had happened to them in their life that they had no ability or outlet to express. It just explodes. And then it's literally taken 20 years of their life locked behind bars.
Right.
And all that came down to 5 minutes where they couldn't find a healthy place to to give their emotions to.
Yeah.
So you have to know, one, whatever's in you is going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
One way, shape, or form, it'll come out. So that's number one. And so knowing that, okay, who are the people around me and how are they experiencing me? And I think that's a great question for men to ask your spouse, your roommates, your friends, your coworkers, to say, how do you experience me when, and then fill in the blank. How do you experience me when I'm frustrated? How do you experience me when things didn't go my way today? How do you experience me when I'm angry? How do you experience me when I'm sad, when I'm grieved? And they will give you, hopefully, honest people will say, man, you're kind of like this. You're like this. And I think that gives us an indication of like, man, where's my heart? And I need to allow God to heal this. I need to invite other people to heal this. So that's one. And then this is not mine at all. It's not original. I had an older man say to me once that every man needs 5 relationships in his life.
Yeah.
And he's specifically talking about relationships with men.
Mm-hmm.
You need 5 kind of men in your life. The first guy you need is you just need the guy to laugh with. I mean, you just need a guy that you just hang out with and you just laugh, You need the guy that is in the foxhole with you. Like, man, you guys are battling it out. You are in the grind together. So maybe that's like he's in the foxhole of like, man, I need to get back in the gym. And I'm not going to invite my brother because he's a prayer warrior. But man, that guy doesn't know the first way around the gym. But I need this dude. This dude is going to get in the gym with me and he's going to push me and we're going to get after it. So you need that guy. Then you need someone you're building something with. Like, what is the ministry we're building? What is the business we're building? What is it doesn't have to, and I'm not saying it doesn't have to be a nonprofit ministry. Right. It could be like, hey man, we are going after men in our church together. Let's build this thing. So who are you building stuff with? And then who are the guides in your life? The wise voices who are, hey Rob, I'm in a season of just kind of like asking questions about what is it like to raise a teenage boy? I don't know, but you've raised teenagers. What's that like? Yeah. What's it like to be 40 and starting to question, am I in a midlife crisis? What do I do about work? And so you need wiser voices that can guide you, give you the right questions to ask, kind of just point you in the right directions. Maybe not tell you what to do, but at least help shape the questions that you should be asking. Most guys I have found have no problem with those 4, but it's the 5th guy that everyone needs in their life that men really struggle with. The 5th guy that men need in their life is someone who you've given the authority to say no. You're not asking for opinions. You're not asking for suggestions. You're saying, Rob, I've given you the authority in my life to say no. Yeah. Should I take this job? And should I move my kids to a different part of the city or the country? Even if it pays more money and the house can be bigger and all that kind of stuff, I need somebody in my life that can say, Nirup, the answer is no. Yeah. I've prayed about it. I've sought the Lord. I know God's vision for your life. The answer is no. Yeah. You cannot do this. And most men don't want that. They don't want that because right around the age of 12, as boys, we think like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need anyone telling me what to do. And you may never say that out loud, but in your interior world, you're saying like, I don't need you to tell me what to do with my money. Right. But I need someone that says, Rob, should I spend this much amount of money on a car, on a house, on a whatever? And somebody has to be able to say the answer is no. Yeah. And I've never found a guy that's had those relationships and not been thriving in marriage and business and family and everything. We need that. And I think men, I mean, I struggle with it. I don't want that guy. I want to do what I want to do. 100%. So I think we need those 5 relationships to really be successful in life.
Especially that guy, because it's lonely at the top and you're a leader of your organization. I'm a leader of my organization. I've been at leadership levels and it's like, you look around, you're like, man, if I admit this to somebody, oh man, they've got ammo on me, or I can't let them in. But then you develop this isolation, and that is incredibly dangerous. And we've seen that in the sports world, the corporate world, every world, where guys are just alone and then they blow up their life. My guy has always been an older man who's 10, 20 years down the road from me. And it's like, he's okay. He can take me saying, hey, I've got this problem, or I'm struggling with this, or I don't think I got imposter syndrome. Like, what do I do with that? You know, I love that.
So we all need that. We all need that stuff.
Absolutely. I had that conversation Saturday morning with a friend. We were talking about something. I go, you know, you have the ability to say no. And he goes, I know I do. That's why I'm here. I go, thanks. Because I don't want to go off. I've done that before. I don't want to go off the rails, right? I don't want to go off that track.
I love that. I love how you invest and pour into guys.
Let me ask you this question. So that's the relational world. What does culture look like? What does mission look like? What does the church look like? What does the world look like when men are developing that as a core of who they are, and then it goes outward? And I shared a quote with you. I shared a book. My new favorite book is Tyler Stanton's book, Living Like Monks, Praying Like Fools. And he makes this statement. He says, God does not dream if the church is on fire. God dreams of a city reborn. Like he dreams of not just cool churches or cool podcasts or cool Instagram or posts or whatever, but he wants to see culture transformed. Mm-hmm. I know that's what you're doing at LifeGate with the mission God's called you to, obviously around the world. But what does it look like when a man has this inner part that's affecting his relational world, it's affecting his work? How is culture shaped?
It's a great question. When men take responsibility for themselves and for those within the direct sphere of their influence, everything gets better. When men decide to protect, when men decide to lead, when men decide to stop all the BS, when men decide to stop building a life that only benefits themselves, using their spouse and kids as the excuse of why they need the brand new car and the brand new house and the brand new all this stuff. When men take responsibility for the vulnerable, for the poor, for the marginalized, for the hurting, and when men get to work, when men realize we are built to work. Now, we certainly should not find our identity in work, but God made man to work. My son asked me the other day, he said, Dad, when can I get a girlfriend? He's 15. I said, you know the answer. What's the answer? He said, I know. When I get a job. I'm like, that's right. When you get a job. Right. And he's like, and I tell him, before God gave man a woman, he gave him a job. And then my son said, what about a part-time girlfriend? I was like, if you get a part-time job, but good luck with that. Good luck if she wants to be a part-time girlfriend. But work. And why is that significant? Because God created man to participate, to partner with him. God, outside of the 6 days of creation, has chosen not to expand the world and to build that city without the partnership of human beings. God wants to co-create. He wants to, and God is certainly not inviting us men to cooperate with him because he's limited in his options. Mm-hmm. God is so gracious in his invitation. He says, I want to build this with you. So when men lead in the church, when men sit in the front and they bring their Bibles and they raise their hands in worship, and they look and they are engaged in the teaching of the text, when men walk around the lobby and they meet other people and they invite them and they introduce them and they break bread with them, when men are the first to confess and repent, when men are the first to ask for forgiveness, when men are the first to take the first step, when men take charge, culture starts to shift. When men say, this is what the truth is, and I'm going to stand in the truth. I don't need to stand up for Jesus. He can stand up all for himself, but I'm going to stand in the truth. Right. And I'm going to, when men are the first to pray, when men are the first to act, like the world changes, culture changes, families change when men say, every man needs these moments of like that Popeye moment where he's like, I can't stand it no more.
Right.
Men, like, I can't stand that there's neighbors of mine going to bed tonight hungry. I can't stand that there are neighbors of mine tonight whose marriages are falling apart. I need to move. I need to do something, and to know that we're built for this. Yeah. This is what we're supposed to do. When men realize we're built for this, get after it, go, hustle, link arms, shoulder to shoulder. We should certainly be rested in the Lord. We should certainly know what it means to be alone with him. But we are built. Like men have to realize we are built for wartime, not for peacetime.
Yeah.
We are built to to break down the walls, to break down barriers, to stand up for those who could not stand up for themselves, and to be defiant against a culture that wants us to basically like acquiesce our role as men. I mean, like, no, man, like we're going to stand in what's true. We're going to go after the heart of God together. And I think culture changes. I think the world changes. Society changes. And I think for all the rhetoric that like, man, toxic masculinity, and there are certainly men who have abused their power, abused their role. But when true biblical masculinity, standing for what's true, standing for the oppressed and the right and those who are hurting, being men of righteousness, holiness. Can you imagine if every man in the city of Denver said, no more pornography under my watch, no more children being exploited under my watch? Like, do we think that pornography would exist anymore?
Yeah.
If every man said, man, we're going to end the need for foster care in our city this year. We're all going to rally together and find homes for kids. Like, there would be no foster system if men would step up and do this. But we have to have a vision. I go back to that. We have to have a vision that's greater than just our own little kingdoms.
Yeah.
We have to have a vision that's greater than, and what Tyler is saying in that book is he's given us God's vision. God's vision is to rebuild a city, and God's heartbeat is for that city. And so how do we join God in his vision for the world? And man, as a man, as a leader, as a father, I just don't want to spend my life building things that don't matter. And I want to build things that matter. And I'm not saying it's only ministry. Businesses can change the world.
Absolutely.
Nonprofits can change the world.
100%.
You know, opening your home for prayer can change the world. Hospitality changes the world. So I want to succeed in the things that matter and not waste my time on things that don't.
Yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh. We could talk for hours around these topics. You hit so many things. I mean, it reminds me, my friend Hariel Kazindra from Musana, when we were in Uganda last year, a year ago this time, he made this comment, and he stood before these men who work there at Musana, and he said, when men are healthy, the entire village is healthy.
Yeah.
And he started pointing out, when you were unhealthy, your family was unhealthy. When you are healthy, when we're transforming lives, when we're rescuing the marginalized, when we're feeding the poor, when we're helping a neighbor, when we're taking time to make eye contact with the kid on their level, when we're humble,
it changes, man.
Changes everything.
Changes everything.
That's
like when
awesome.
Men go to, like, man, why are our wives always the one to have to go to the PTO meeting? Why don't we go to the meeting? I want to know what's going on in the schools. What are you teaching my kids?
Right.
Like, and we've sort of relegated, like, well, no, like the women do that. The women like make sure like the kids are okay and the health insurance is taken care of, and she makes sure that she talks to the teachers. Why? I want to know what my kids are learning. Right. I want to make sure that I want my son's teachers to know that if my son is acting up, if he is not living honorably in class, you call me, you let me know what's going on. And if there's other kids in that room that don't have dads, let me know. And we will come alongside of those kids and encourage them and help shape them into who God has called them to be. But I find like, well, I got to go to work. Like I'm at work all day. That's what I do. And I get it. I've had plenty of those moments with my wife where I'm like, can you just do that? Like I'm at work all day. Sure. I've had those moments, and I've had to repent of those moments because we're called to build up the culture, to build up society, to reflect the heartbeat of God. So, man, I've just found when men step up. In fact, I'm doing this. You're getting a preview of this. I'm praying and asking the Lord for the names of 300 men in our church, different ages, different ethnicities, but just men I felt like, man, I think these men are men of influence. Yeah. And some might be more than others, but I think they can each have an influence on other people. And I'm basically writing them a letter. And I'm writing them a letter and saying, hey, will you help me in our church create a culture of prayer? Will you commit to once a month coming to a prayer night? If you're married, bring your wife. And I get it. It's a commitment. It's a drive. It's a haul. It's a Wednesday night. I get it. But what would our lives look like? And keep track, like have a journal, just tracking what God is teaching you over the year. But man, can you imagine if 300 men started coming to prayer on Wednesday nights and saying like, yeah, man, I'm not doing fantasy football tonight. I'm not going to pickleball. Like I'm not watching, I don't know what games are on Wednesdays. I'm not watching basketball. I'm not watching hockey.
Right.
Like I'm going to be at church praying. I'm going to invite other men to pray. I'm going to encourage other people. I'm going to participate. I'm going to be there with the same enthusiasm, the same passion as I would if I went to a Broncos game or a Ravens game or a Bears game. Like, man, I know so many men that could name the entire Broncos lineup. This is crazy. I know Broncos players that can't name the starting lineup, or they can't name all their teammates. And I know fans who can. I'm like, don't you think that's odd, bro? Like, don't you think that's weird? Like, the guys who play on the team can't even. This is crazy. A couple weeks ago, the Broncos were playing a late game.
Yeah.
And so I saw at our later gathering a bunch of guys stand up in their Broncos jerseys and start walking out before church was over. Right. And I'm not saying you can't be a fan. Like, man, go enjoy sports. Right. It's a gift from the Lord. Don't find your identity in it. Don't let it ruin your day. It's just a game, But there were Broncos players in the room who came up for prayer before their game. And I'm like, let me get this straight. The guys that you were watching to go play, they're staying to get prayed over. Right. You're wearing their jerseys and you're going to get your little tailgate party ready. Like, I think there might be, you might have, your priorities might be needed to be adjusted here. Right. And so I'm not saying don't be a sports fan. I'm not saying don't, I'm trying to raise my son right. So he's getting a Jeremiah Smith jersey for Christmas.
Oh, 100%. But he didn't get the Bolitnikoff award. He's not the best receiver.
It's a travesty. So I'm not saying you can't raise your kids to play sports or enjoy it or eat a bucket of wings and just, relax. That could also be time with the Lord. But man, don't make it an idol. Don't make it what ruins your day or makes your day better. It's a game. What are we doing with our lives, man? What are we doing? Like, let's follow Jesus together. Let's raise up an army of young men who want to go after the heart of God, who want to live lives that are holy and pure before God, who want to be defiant against a culture that tells them they have to take a back seat. Like, no, get back in the front, lead from the front, fight from the front. And man, let's really see God do some things as we walk in humility and vulnerability and intelligence and reason and passion. So I'm with you, man. Like, let's get these guys going.
Love it.
Let's get them moving.
Love it. Love it. And we land on one actionable step. Like, what is one thing a man can do? And I think you hit it. If you disagree, let me know. But the daily rhythm, number one. But number two, developing a life of prayer.
Yeah.
Of just talking with God. And it could be, God, my life sucks right now. Will you help me? Will you move in my life? Will you change this? And if not, give me the courage to lean into what you do have for me.
Yep.
Like,
as I would say, start with prayer. And it's like anything else.
Yeah.
If you are not good at praying right now, there is no shame in that. There's no guilt in that. It's okay. It's something you learn over time. So I would say commit this year to reading 12 books on prayer. Read Tim Keller's book on prayer, Tyler's book on prayer, John Piper's book on prayer, Tony Evans' book on prayer, read John Wesley's book on prayer, read Practice in the Presence with Sir Brother Lawrence. Read about it. And what I find is most of the time when you read about something, you start to get into that thing. Right. So if you are into the Broncos, you're probably reading about the Broncos. If you're into a certain type of investment, you're probably reading about that investment. So read books on prayer. Read really good books. Challenge yourself this year. I'm going to read 12 books on prayer, and start there and say every day I'm going to set aside 30 minutes a day to read 12 books on prayer. And I think that will start to, fuel your passion for it and say, like, okay, I think I can do that. I think I can engage in that. So I would say start there, read about it, and it'll start to fuel you to be a part of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's our actionable step, man. Developing a life of prayer. That's how you develop that inner world. That's how you sit bare before God, and he points out to you and he whispers, Rob, that's not my best for you. Are you going to be obedient to that? And then you have decisions to make, and out of that flows everything else.
That's good.
That's amazing. So, Nirup, man, we need to, like I said, we could wrap up. We could talk forever, but I know you've got things to do. You've got a busy life. I would love to have you back when you're on your global book tour.
Oh man, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. But I want to thank you for taking time. Men, we're recording this, happens to be on a Monday. So this is after a busy weekend. And Nirup, thanks so much. It means a lot to me that you would join us. Appreciate you being a part of today, and may God bless you and what you're doing, your family, those boys, Hannah, things at LifeGate, and your walk with God. But thanks so much for being a part of what we're doing today on the next stage, and thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, go Bucks.
Does your sermon only get one squeeze? There's probably more juice in that sermon. Resermon repurposes sermon content for optimal ministry impact. Learn more at resermon.com or email hello@resermon.com.
Man, there's a loneliness and isolation epidemic going on in our world today. 50% of men report frequent feelings of loneliness. Another 50% report not having any close friends. And 70% of men report not having a significant relationship or a conversation that goes beyond the surface level in the last week. Life doesn't have to be that way. In fact, Sherpa Unlimited has come along and said, we want to help solve that problem. And I want you to picture your world like this. Picture your world where you have other strong men around you who are heading the same direction you are. Not just yes men in your life or drinking buddies or poker playing buddies or something like that, but men where you had the opportunity to grow, to really foster the kind of life that you want, to grow that internal world that allows you to be the man you need to be at work, at home, in your community. Men who were there to challenge you, but also lift you up when you fall. And we all do. I want you to check out Sherpa Unlimited's opportunity that we have coming up. They're called Ascent Men's Communities. These are bi-weekly groups that meet literally anywhere in the world. You have to invest in these. They're not just free, but it's very affordable. You'll see. Less than the cost of a couple pizzas and certainly less than the cost of your gym membership. Go to sherpaunlimited.com/ascent. We'll see you in one of our Ascent Men's communities very soon.
Thanks for joining us for the Next Stage podcast with Rob Stout. The Next Stage is a production of Sherpa Unlimited executive and personal life coaching for men, based in Denver, Colorado. Learn more at sherpaunlimited.com/thenextstage or visit Sherpa's communities on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. For questions, comments, or feedback, email us at thenextstage@sherpaunlimited.com. The Next Stage distributes episodes every 2 weeks on Wednesday mornings. The Next Stage helps men built in God's image live their life with passion, power, purpose, and perspective. And the key to doing this is by exploring the ancient wisdom found in the Holy Scriptures. If you don't have a copy of the Bible, you can visit any public library and check one out. Or just download a free online Bible app called YouVersion for your smartphone. Go to your smartphone's app store and search YOU Version and select the YouVersion Bible. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.